Welcome to Meet the Candidate with your host, Sulani Madsen. Meet the Candidate is your opportunity to see local candidates and hear about the experiences that have shaped their lives. Meet the Candidate is a nonpartisan community project brought to you by your friends at the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, North by Northwest Digital, We Believe, We Vote, and the McGarry Law Office, the landlord's attorney. Now, here's Sulani.
Well, my guest for this edition of Meet the Candidate is Jennifer Thomas, and she's running for the Spokane Public Schools School Board position number 5. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
So glad that you could be here.
Yes.
I know this is your first experience with a television interview, and since I'm an amateur interviewer, I'm sure it'll be just fine. We'll have a nice conversation.
Oh, good. Okay.
So where did you grow up?
My dad was Air Force, so I was born in Texas. Texas brat, and moved to Florida and then to Germany and back to Texas, back to Germany, and then to Washington. So I have been lucky enough to live and get to travel all over the world.
That's really cool. Yeah, my daughter married into the Air Force, and they've had some interesting travels. What's the most interesting place that you traveled? Stuck in your mind?
Well, so when my dad. The second time we lived in Germany, I was 9 when we moved there and 13 when we moved back. And my parents thought it would be really fun. Number one, when we were in Germany, it was my mom's goal to have our passport have as many stamps in it as possible. So we literally, it felt like every weekend, would jump in the car and go somewhere. And Germany is a little bit smaller than the size of Oregon. So you can basically get to France and Switzerland and Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands within less than 6 hours. And so I loved traveling. Like, that's probably where my love of travel was born. When we came back to the States, my parents thought it would be really fun to buy a van in Pennsylvania, which is where my mom's family lived, and drive all the way across the country.
When you were 13?
I was almost 13.
I imagine it was not as popular.
No, my brother was 6 and my sister was 9. And the fact that we survived that trip is a slight miracle. But it was, I remember learning to be really adaptable in that road trip. And so from that point, since then, after I graduated high school and did a discipleship program and some college, I moved to Uganda, East Africa, and lived there for a couple of years. And again, got in the van, often different van, and traveled to neighboring countries. So the most interesting place I think I ever have been, gosh, we've been so many places, actually, maybe would be Thailand. And it was I think it was most interesting because it was a completely different culture than what I thought it would be. Very high-paced, very loud, like loud in a different way than it's loud here, though. And they're very, very, very hospitable. So I loved it.
Cool. Those are a really interesting background to bring to a position here. So you landed in Spokane as part of a job or following family?
Well, my dad retired from Fairchild Air Force Base, so I retired.
Well, you did. You retired from being an Air Force brat when he retired.
Yes, I graduated from high school at University High School, and worked at Spokane County Title downtown for a couple of years, doing like bookkeeping, looking up filing title research stuff. Way back in the day before we had...
Before it was on the computer.
It was still microfiche. I'm not really that old. I was like 10 when I worked there. And then went to Seattle and did a discipleship program. And from there, moved to Uganda, then came back to Seattle and worked in the mortgage business for a little bit. So what brought me back to Spokane was after we had our first baby, and knowing my mom and dad both lived over here at the time, but knowing that we wanted to be close to family and that Spokane was a great community to raise a family in.
Yeah. Okay. So, with all that moving around, did you have an opportunity to have a job as a child? I like to ask people about the first job and what lessons they learned from connecting work and money.
Yes. Let me think what my very first job was. I was a Girl Scout. I sold Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, that counts as a job.
I was top in sales in my little brownie troop in Austin, Texas, where we lived, and paid my way to Girl Scout camp 2 summers in a row. And, absolutely fell in love with providing something that people enjoyed buying. So...
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it, but that does count. I was a campfire girl, so I also sold mints.
Yes.
Did that all the time. Is there someone in the teaching profession? Now, you're running for school board, so I thought I'd ask people about a teacher that they remembered, someone that inspired them.
I have several teachers that just, I really think that teachers are humans with angel wings, that they just are saints. But my first grade teacher, Mrs. Reed in Florida, was so kind and compassionate. And I just remember school being a really warm and welcoming place. And like as a kid, I would get nervous, like new places, like always moving was really hard. But she made it really safe to just be a kid. And then my 4th grade teacher, Miss Swinarski, when we lived in Germany, was so, she looked at life with such creativity, and everything was beautiful. Like she just, like, I just remember like really feeling like nothing was impossible, and life was good. It just, she brought magic to the classroom. So
those are some really good memories to hold on to. So what not everybody jumps into public service. What motivated you to seek a school board position?
Well, I have, so I'm a single mom, which has had its own story and its own adventure. But when life took that turn, I had my, it would have been my first daughter, was in ECAP at the time, which is early childhood education program. And I had one of her teachers say to me, "Oh, you should do this parent ambassador program that helps to engage parents and teach them to advocate for their kids and things like that." I have always loved education, but didn't want to how do I say this jokingly, but not seriously?
You didn't want to be the teacher?
I didn't want to be the teacher because I know that my patients, like, it's just, I'm much better at having fun than having to be responsible for them learning how to read and write and do all those really important things. And so,
but recognizing that teaching is a tough profession is a good thing.
Yeah. So, I got lost in that question, sidetracked myself.
I sidetracked you. What inspired you to run for school board?
School board, yes. My love of my admiration and love of educators and what they do, and recognizing that the school board makes decisions that affect their life and their profession and their ability to help students succeed. And in looking at where we're at currently in Spokane, I felt like it was the right time. It was the right thing for me and for my girls, for me to step up and be a voice for families like ours on school board.
Okay, and so you have girls too?
Four. Mm-hmm.
4 girls? And
yes.
Where are they at school?
They go to Summit. It's a public school. It's actually in Spokane Valley, but when our life took a turn for singlehood, they were already in school there. And to give them stability, I left them there. So we live right by Rogers High School, and that's where they'll go to high school. But I drive them to Summit every day.
Well, you have to make decisions that are the best for your kids, and that you, as an Air Force brat, would understand the value of stability
Yeah.
when other things are changing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're getting to that 1 minute wrap up question where you get to tell me why should people vote for Jennifer Thomas for school board for Spokane Public Schools?
Yeah. I think I would request that people would vote for me for school board because when we look at Spokane Public Schools right now, there are many, many educators who are working very hard for student success, and that's the goal. Even the tagline for Spokane Public Schools is student success. However, I think that we could do better as a school board and making sure that we succeed in getting kids to a point of success. I feel like our education system across the board is antiquated, and it's not preparing kids for the future. And that would be my goal as when I look at my family, my kids, and what I want for the community is kids that are ready for the future. They're the community leaders, the business owners, the outside the box innovators that we need, not factory workers from 100 years ago. So.
Okay, that's a good summary, and I appreciate you being here, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Ceylon.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Meet the Candidate. Spokane Talks Online thanks our community-minded partners at Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, North by Northwest Digital, We Believe, We Vote, and the McGarry Law Office, the landlord's attorney, for helping make Meet the Candidate possible.